Hey, so it's me returning from blogging. Took a little slowdown on my one video a day, but more important things had to happen. And that was I have a performance coming up this Saturday, and I needed to have it be the best that it could be because I've been given this residency with what I consider an awesome gig. If you're in the Southern California area and you feel like showing up for one of my improvised soundscape performances, I'm playing at Noise Bug at 8 p.m. in Old Pomona this Saturday coming. Yeah, but I had to get a little more insular with myself and my relationship with my music and, well, especially with this. Play guitar every day, but the electric kind of like went away for about a year and a half, and I think anybody that plays electric and acoustic can tell you that what happens with the pick hand and those electrified things and all that kind of stuff you really got to have a touch for. But that's the topic of this video, is about being uptight. And I find that a lot in the raw vegan world. Very much so. Like almost knocking down like the most, in terms of like being more uptight, the most like religious type of person, because it is a religion. It changes people radically, and there's a lot of people that are raw vegan for a little while and they just go off in other directions. And I've always said this, that there's something about the insularity of raw veganism when you move away from everybody else and you go, no, I'm doing this and I'm not following what's normal, and whatever. Those people, a lot of times when they start out in that world, it gives them a boost and a motivation to go off into doing other things that are highly disciplined, that deal with getting away from society and doing your own thing and getting between the lines. It's a real important thing. So I'm just going to talk about this. I've been inspired by a few young YouTubers. There's one who I'm going to link in the drop down. He's gotten away from doing a lot of like sort of what I'm going to call in this video double-edged things. Things that have a good and a bad side. And some people that were maybe a little too biblical than they should be, or clinging to like to a text that was created in Rome in 335 BC, start thinking like, oh, the Bible speaks out against astrology, the Bible speaks out against magic, this, that, against, and that's because those are double sword things, double-edged swords. There's really good, cutting, amazing things that can happen with those, and there's also a really like dark direction of self-indulgence, of impulsive self-indulgence, and of just getting in a rut. And so where am I going to go with this? I'm just going to say that there's a lot of things, like I'm just going to tell you, this is basically my relationship to sort of with marijuana, really. And there was a time in my life, like I became raw vegan at 22, but like I've always been in this on and off kind of thing with marijuana, of where I'm like not doing it a lot, like mostly, like only, and then there's the other side of it, which I'm drowned in it. And that's a part that I take, the insularity for me, the disappearing from the world for what I do, is really important for me. So I stay stoned for not 24 hours, but yeah, more or less. And that's what I do. And there was a time when I would jump ship with those of being really clean living, raw vegan, meditating, and all of that kind of stuff, of where, and then I'd go into that marijuana world, and it would equal pasta, rice, bread, soy, going to restaurants with friends. Or later on in life, I became more hermit-like, and I'm very much like that now. Like if I go in a marijuana phase, I don't want to upload onto YouTube. I don't want to talk to anybody. If I have to do anything with anybody, that's the most likely that I'm going to cancel my appointments and everything. And it's not to do with anything because, oh, I'm sitting around watching porn, smoking pot, masturbating 24/7. Whatever, there's a side to that. That's okay. Yeah, I am watching the porn of my life and of like getting deeper into stuff, but I'm just saying that there's this uptightedness with with like raw food people, and a friend of mine actually pointed out to me that like it's like, oh, I lived in Oregon and I was in Hawaii and I've been around all these raw vegan people, and they're all like, you don't have that what they have. You're really open, and I've always said this, I'd rather hang out with a bunch of drug addicts than a bunch of uptight motherfucking raw vegans. And you get around that all the time. Like, get around that Facebook group that's called Raw Food Riot. Boy, those are some uptight, pretentious fucking little motherfucking son of a bitches there. And don't start going and talking to them about their fruit sugar and shit like that. Fuck. And other stuff like that, of where they get focused, and that's that childlike wildness of where like there's all possibilities, like you haven't been like defeated by like something, by your lack of this or your lack of that, and you haven't become like self-indulgent and whatever. And then you just got to get into the whole spiritual big picture of realizing that everybody's doing the right thing at the right time all the time. And for me, I made a big breakthrough since I came back from Thailand, because I did count them four, one early part of coming back from Thailand, a break, and then late summer, and then a break, and then maybe that was all summer that I stayed stoned. I don't know. 4 of them, though. I know there was 4 of them, of where it used to be like disappearing a little bit into the world of cooked food. And for me, that's basically quinoa and yams, the orange potatoes, the ones that are high in beta carotene. And of doing like maybe just, let's just say, less than ideal choices, because my less than ideal choice is frickin' still top shelf for all these like sort of vegans on YouTube or whatever, where it's just be vegan. Not good enough. Not good enough. And so I'm happy at this moment of where like I've also been down roads with people who have this uptighted point of view with sexuality. And it's just like all these things that have to do with like this sort of cathartic thing, like the expression of love through sexuality, the expression of the senses, of taking drugs. And I'm for all drugs, all drugs. In fact, something I've been around a lot that I haven't done that much myself is crystal meth. But I can tell you one experience that I had with crystal meth, of where I was doing it on and off, and I was on a job working with a bunch of tweakers, and I forgot how it came about, but I was just a person I was working with was like, oh, there's some really good shit going around. And I was like, I said, I've been thinking about stopping that like forever, like because I didn't do it that much, but I was just always around those people. And the short story is basically, as I did that stuff for a weekend, this particular variety of it, and I'd always had these goals, these dreams of doing a kind of a music on my computer, which I've long left that. I've already created that and done it. I'm past it. Like I already accomplished it, so I'm not interested anymore. Of just doing all these modulations of things panning and of things moving out, and like doing a kind of automation, orchestrated automation that you'd have to have 500 hands to do with one central mind. And I did it. And I don't need to tell a long story about that, but it wasn't the drugs, the meth that did that. It was me that did that. And that just helped me to look through the window and see things that are possibility of when you're not like locked up. And this goes on with sexuality, of where people are guilty and uptight about sexuality. And I've been around a lot of things that a lot of raw vegans would not do, like into the whole fetish community, into like the piercings and tattoos and the suspensions and all these kind of ritualistic things, of where I'll never forget, I was in a yoga class, and it was all it was like a couple of like high-end yoga people that were just doing yoga stuff, and people who were just taking a class and what have you. But so there were these like uptight like yoga, I call them yoga bitches in Santa Monica, but like it doesn't necessarily have to be a female. It could be anybody that's that uptight that thinks they know everything. And that's what's fucked up. Because it's when you think you know everything, it's a binary black, white, left, right, yes, no, up, down. We are not that. And so there's a lot of things like sexuality and recreational drugs. And that word's been hijacked. Recreational drugs, like that has one meaning. It's like conservatism, you know, conserve. Like that word has been hijacked by rednecks, nationalists, right-wing, what have you, kind of people. It has nothing to do with conservation. Well, the word recreational comes from recreate or recreate, yeah? So it is actually a really great term, but recreational means, oh, like I'm partying, like I'm hanging out with friends and whatever. If I'm doing any of that kind of stuff, I ain't hanging out with friends. I'm hanging out by myself, charting new ground, you know? And we could talk more about this. I want to end this one for now because it's a fucking good little talk about just kind of loosening up. And the other thing is like the way you look. Like, it's like after people get to be a certain age, they're like, oh, I can't look like I can't wear those kind of clothes and I can't do that kind of stuff. I've got to look a certain way and I can't have these big stretched earlobes and have mohawks and wear eye makeup from time to time and just doing all of that kind of stuff of like where you're just free like a kid. And that's a big part of youthing. Of like when you're setting yourself up to be a dead old motherfucker, you are a dead old motherfucker. And this is an interesting topic because you know James Sheridan just recently passed. Not recently, it was last fall, but I've been wanting to talk about that because I knew there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes with that people don't really talk about. And I get around this with the whole LA health crowd. It's just like, whoa, I eventually found out that almost every single one of those motherfuckers is an uptight fucking son of a bitch. Do what you want all the time. Aleister Crowley, do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. All right, man. It's Keith, I'm wound up. I got all into myself. I found out all of these, like getting in between the lines. You know what I mean by getting in between the lines? Like, the lines, like where you're supposed to write and getting in between. Like the things that you're supposed to do and getting in between and finding out what is more, what speaks from your soul, what speaks from your heart, what speaks from your purpose for being here, your soul trajectory, which should have nothing to do with society since society's going like fucking like just, you know, everything's going to get better, but just realize that it's not going to be better from towing the line. It's going to be better from getting in between the lines, of finding that gray area, that not black or white, left, right, up, down, yes, no, good, bad, evil, heavenly, dark light, all that. The dark is awesome. I'm a dark worker, man. Heard that term. We got to talk about that one a little bit too. All right, hey, I'm going to stop because I could go for like 2 hours. I'm a wound up son of a bitch. Support me by supporting my music. Links in the drop down. My Bandcamp page, secondculture.bandcamp.com, second-culture.com. I've been noticing a lot of you been like checking out my music and stuff like that. I have a little thing, a notification that comes out on my cell phone about when y'all go on my website, or maybe it's you, maybe it's other people. Good, awesome things are happening. So I got to start getting into my drop down, putting links to individual songs and stuff like that. So hey, always go into the drop down. I'll try to be more responsible with putting extra data in there. I know when I see something awesome on YouTube and somebody just uploaded it and left it, and it's like, wow, you didn't even really care about this. Sometimes I can be like that, but don't get mad at me when I say I'm going to upload every day and then I decide I need to take a little trip in myself with some cannabis. Yeah. Peace out. Namaste, bright blessings, all that stuff that we live for. All right, bye-bye.